All right, listen closely, because this story begins at the exact moment everything stops. The moment a courtroom full of lawyers, reporters, and officials goes dead silent as a judge who has run hundreds of trials suddenly chokes on his own breath when he reads the case file. A judge known for his stern discipline and his ruthless reputation for belittling anyone he deems unworthy, suddenly rendered speechless by the identity of the man standing before him, the man he had mocked just seconds earlier, the man everyone had been laughing at, the street lawyer. We rewind to the outside of the Riverside Courthouse, a tall gray building with cracked steps and pigeons perched along the ledges, where a young man in a faded coat and worn-out shoes stands, holding a stack of case papers held together with rubber bands, his clothes rumpled, his appearance modest, his haircut simple, looking more like someone who had slept in a shelter than someone preparing to argue a case in front of a district judge. His name is Daniel Reyes, mid-30s, soft-spoken, carrying a messenger bag that looks like it has been patched more times than originally sewn. People in passing ignore him, except for one passing lawyer who smirks and whispers to his colleague, "Is the janitor representing someone today?" And they laugh. Daniel hears it, but his face remains calm, his eyes focused, determined. He takes a breath, walks inside. Now inside courtroom 4B, you can hear the subtle echo of heels, pens clicking, the quiet hushing of distant clerks. The presiding judge is Judge Charles Eaton, tall, silver hair, tailored suit, known in legal circles as brilliant but brutal, a man who believes the law is meant to be defended, not interpreted with emotion. He glances over the docket, sees the case number, sees the plaintiff's listed representative, Daniel Reyes, public advocate, unregistered, and he raises an eyebrow, then looks up, and sees Daniel approaching the bench, and laughs. Not a full laugh at first, more like a breathy scoff, but one loud enough that the room immediately fills with snickers. "Mr. Reyes," the judge says, voice dripping with condescension, "this court requires licensed legal counsel. You appear to be underdressed and underqualified." The courtroom reacts with that uncomfortable social pain laughter, scattered, sharp. Daniel stands still, hands gently folded, and says simply, "Your Honor, I am here to represent my client, Marisol Alvarez, who cannot afford counsel. I filed the necessary motion for special representation under Civil Code 14B. The judge waves a hand dismissively. I am aware of the statute, but usually the individual filing under that code has completed law school. Have you completed law school, Mr. Reyes? Daniel hesitates, then answers honestly, "No." The room erupts again. A bailiff shakes his head. A young attorney actually pulls out his phone to record. The judge leans forward, enjoying this. "So tell me, Mr. Reyes, what qualifies you to step into my courtroom and assume you can practice law?" Daniel's voice remains steady. "I have studied constitutional litigation independently for 9 years. I assist undocumented families in legal disputes. I have successfully negotiated settlements in district arbitration, and I know this case better than anyone in this room." The judge chuckles. "Ah, so a street lawyer." The words hit the room like a slap. Even Daniel flinches slightly at that one. But he doesn't react. He just continues, "Your Honor, my client's home is being illegally taken." The judge raises a hand sharply, cutting him off. "We will not proceed until I verify your legitimacy. State your full legal background for court record." Daniel closes his eyes. The room waits. He speaks softly. "I was accepted into Harvard Law School." The courtroom jolts. Even the judge blinks. "But I never attended," Daniel continues. A beat of silence. Then the judge smirks again, thinking this confirms his belief. "Oh? And why didn't you attend? Couldn't handle the workload? Couldn't afford the tuition?" Daniel answers, voice heavy, "My mother was dying." Silence. Real, heavy silence. The judge exhales slowly, preparing to respond, when the back doors of the courtroom open and Marisol Alvarez enters, late 50 seconds, wearing worn shoes, face tired from work and life. and fear. Her hands shake as she clutches a folder of eviction notices. Daniel helps her to her seat, speaks to her gently, reassuringly. The judge watches this. Something in his expression shifts, but only slightly. He clears his throat, signaling for the case documents. A clerk hands him the folder. The judge flips through, lazily at first, not expecting much. But then, he pauses. His posture stiffens. His eyebrows narrow. He flips another page, then another. Slowly, the courtroom's energy begins to shift, like air pressure dropping before a storm. Because the judge saw something no one else had seen yet. Household financial statements, hospital discharge records, wage theft logs, and at the bottom a police report, a familiar one, filed 20 years ago. His face changes, completely. The courtroom can tell something shifted, but they can't tell what. The judge swallows. His voice, when he speaks, lowers. Mr. Reyes, Daniel Reyes, do you have a father? Now the room is confused. Daniel's face tenses. He says slowly, I did. The judge's voice comes out quieter now, strained. His name? Daniel's throat tightens. Captain Luis Reyes. Gasps ripple across the room. The judge's lips part just slightly, horror crawling across his expression. People whisper, Captain Reyes? The whistleblower? The one who died in custody? The one who exposed the corruption case? The judge looks like he's seen a ghost, because everyone in this courthouse knows the story. 20 years ago, Captain Luis Reyes exposed a corporate land seizure scheme tied to municipal officials, a scandal implicating government attorneys, judges, including a junior attorney named Charles Eaton. The room watches as every drop of color leaves Judge Eaton's face. He grips the case file so hard the edges crumple. He remembers the hearings, the denial of evidence, the silencing of testimony, the night Captain Reyes was arrested, and the morning the world learned he was found dead in his cell. Official report, suicide, public belief, cover-up. The judge whispers, almost too quietly to be heard, I knew your father. Daniel's jaw sets. His voice is steady, but something in it shakes. Yes, I know you did. The judge tries to talk, but his voice fails him. Daniel steps forward now, no longer small, no longer timid, no longer mocked. My client, he says, motioning to Marisol, is a victim of the same land seizure pipeline my father died trying to expose. The same corporations, the same attorneys, the same signatures, the same judge's court rulings. The courtroom freezes. All eyes slowly turn to the judge, and the judge can't look away from Daniel, because this is not just a case, this is history returning. Justice returning. Consequences returning. The judge forces himself to breathe, and for the first time in a very long time, he doesn't speak as a man of power. He speaks as a man who is ashamed. Mr. Reyes, he says softly, the court recognizes your standing. Proceed. The room erupts, but not with laughter, with shock. The lawyers who mocked him look stunned. The bailiff stands straighter. Even Marisol begins to cry. Silently, hope finally allowed. And Daniel, calm, composed, begins to speak. His voice strong now, rising, filled with conviction and clarity, outlining corporate fraud, forged agreements, exploitation of immigrant labor, unlawful property seizures, tying names, dates, and legal precedents together flawlessly, piece by piece, layer by layer, just as his father once did. And the judge listens, because he must, because this is his reckoning. When Daniel finishes, the room is silent. You could hear a pen drop. The judge closes the file, exhales, and rules clearly, powerfully. The eviction is reversed, all property rights restored, full investigation ordered. Morally, legally, publicly, the cycle breaks. Reporters rush. Cameras flash. But Daniel ignores all of it. He helps Marisol gather her documents. He walks her outside into daylight, and the judge watches him leave. The same man who once watched his father fall. But this time, something different happens. The judge stands, walks down from the bench, something he never does. Approaches Daniel. Outside the courtroom steps. People watch. The judge's voice cracks as he says, "I can't undo what happened to your father, but I can do something now." Daniel turns, eyes tired, but burning with purpose. The judge continues, "If you wish it, I will sponsor you, personally, for the bar exam, and I will testify to your experience." The air holds still. Daniel doesn't smile, doesn't cry. He simply nods once, firmly, a nod that means, this time, the system will face the right side of history. Marisol hugs him. Strangers look at him differently now, not as a street lawyer, but as a son fulfilling a battle left unfinished. And as Daniel walks away from the courthouse, sunlight breaks through the clouds overhead. The camera follows him from behind, coat blowing gently in the wind, case files tucked under his arm like a soldier carrying a flag forward. And we end here. Not where the story finishes, but where a legacy continues.